communication training with Dan O'Connor.
Hi everybody, this is Dan O'Connor, and this is lesson number 5 in Energy Vampire Slang 101. So I recommend, if you have not yet taken the other lessons, that you go back and take those, because what I'm going to do is wrap up with a principle and with a tool. You ready? This is lesson number 5. Don't let facts distract you from the truth. In this sliver in time between event and response, we've been talking about how I can choose to stop and remember who I am, why I'm here, and what I want. That's really reflecting on what's called a personal compass. And we talk about that in the first chapter of Energy Vampire Slang 101. It's really the first thing that any communicator will do in his or her evolutionary process is make some type of what I refer to as a personal compass. 3 easy steps, takes 15 minutes, changes the way you speak forever, because it helps remind you of who you are at the time you need it the most between event and response. Because what happens is facts distract us from the truth.
Communication principle of the week.
If somebody says something difficult to you, like if somebody calls you a name, that might be a fact. But the truth is, they're doing the best they can with what they have. Not everybody has what you have. Not everybody has access to the resources you do or believes what you believe. My mother might call me up in the middle of the night and say things that push my buttons the way only mothers can. That's a fact. But the truth is, I'm so grateful to have a mother, and I'm so grateful that she can call me up in the middle of the night. That's the truth. You know, right now I feel as though I'm sitting still, and you're probably sitting still at a desk or, someplace where you're sitting down, and the thing that you're sitting on is a solid object. That's a fact. The truth is, it's all made up of empty space, with molecules moving around so quickly that they give the illusion of being solid objects when it's all empty space. That's the truth. The fact is we're sitting still. The truth is we're hurtling through the universe at, 9,000 miles an hour, but it appears as though we're sitting still. It's not the truth. The fact is everybody around me appears as though they are separate from me and that they are all different people. The truth is we are all the exact same stuff, and there's really, when it comes down to it, nothing that separates me from you or that differentiates me from you or you from them. That's the truth. But I forget the truth, you know what I mean? The truth is that I'm a loving person and I want to make my parents proud of me. That's the truth. But the fact is I say and do things that I would be ashamed and embarrassed to tell my parents because I forget. I let facts get in the way of the truth of who I am and why I'm here and what I want. So how do I prevent that from happening? Personal compass. We've talked about that, but how do we use it? I recommend in the back of your workbook you have some templates and you can print out a flashcard, just some index card size card where you write down or print out who you are, why you're there, and what you want. And you have that handy where you can see it. Before you respond to somebody on the telephone, before you have to call up a difficult customer, before you walk in the door at work, before you walk in the door at home, pull it out and read it and remind yourself and say it out loud. There's power in writing things and there's power in saying things. Remember that. If you want to change your verbal patterns, if you want to start speaking differently, start thinking differently. That's easy. But let's say that we are stuck in a mental cycle, in a mental pattern. You want to start thinking differently, start speaking differently. It's the same thing both ways. If you think negative thoughts, speak positive words, and watch how your thoughts start to change. So I'd like you to say it out loud. I am, blah, 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 blah. I want, yada, yada. I'm here to, blah, blah, blah. Speak it. You wrote it. Don't just write it. Read it. Don't just hear it, speak it. When you do the 4 things that we talk about in Energy Vampire Slang, when you do the 4 things, speak it, hear it, read it, write it, speak it, hear it, read it, write it, all of a sudden, you will believe it. You will believe who you are, why you're here, and what you want. Those things that you wrote down, you'll believe it, and you'll start acting like it. Because remember, visual cues are key when it comes to communication development. So keep that personal compass. Keep those phrases out where you can see them, where you can read them, where you can speak them. And you will start changing the way you think and the way you speak so fast, people will think that you are a wizard. Because remember that wizards are people who can they can really be alchemists. They can take one thing and turn it into something else. You can take, a difficult person and transform them. And what you're doing is not really transforming them into another person. You're revealing who they really are because you are showing who you really are. And we're going to talk about more ways to do that in our upcoming lessons. So I will see you in lesson number 6. In the meantime, for the resources that I've talked about here, make sure to check out the links below. Subscribe to this channel. And this is Dan O'Connor, seeing you either on danocconnortraining.com or right here on our YouTube channel next time on Energy Vampire Slaying 101. This is Dan O'Connor, signing off.